We start out tonight with an interesting question. What do you think? Is it possible that with 16 days to go to the election, and on Wednesday it'll only be 13 days to go, might Musk actually skip the call this time so that he can keep doing town halls and giving away millions of dollars? Would that be a possibility? I mean, he knows he won't be missed by the stockholders because we all figure that it always goes down if he speaks. So maybe he'll let somebody else do the speaking, and keep out there campaigning. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Excuse me so much. Whether you think that's a possibility. All right, Whole Mars blog is saying that last night on Tesla full self-driving, supervised, of course, 12.5.6 performed 100 minutes of real actual rideshare pickups and drop-offs in Los Angeles with zero interventions. So I guess hands-free, I assume he didn't say that. He has a video if you want to go check it out up on X and see the entire thing. He did it in time lapse so that you don't have to spend 100 minutes to see 100 minutes worth of no interventions. Because, it's kind of boring now to watch the videos. I'm sorry. True story. So one of the other questions I have is, will we see more evidence of Juniper between now and the earnings call, or will it come up in the earnings call? So one way would be, of course, maybe that was an unofficial rumor. Will we actually see some evidence tomorrow that this closed loop actual production has started? I mean, if they got 15 cars a day, I don't know if that'll be the first day, second day, third day, they'll be up to 15 cars a day. They got to put the cars somewhere. They can't just keep them all inside the factory. So will we get some more, evidence of that between now and Wednesday? Also, will we get more information on Robotaxi, which I think was supposed to be done at 10:10, wasn't done because of time? Will they maybe put out a video? Will Elon maybe say something from the road, or will they say something at earnings about kind of the details of how Robotaxi will work financially for Tesla, as well as for the people like you and me that own cars that might want to put them out, or like Whole Mars. He's probably going to not have to work so hard anymore. He won't have to go out there and actually be in his car anymore. Earnings. Listen to this. See, I'm trying to give you some things to keep thinking here. What about this? I don't think earnings are going to matter that much. And I should give credit to the person who said it, but after I saw it, I didn't keep it, visible, and then I couldn't find it again. So I didn't think of this in my own little noggin, but maybe earnings, how much are they going to really matter? If you watch the videos I did with Brian Wong on Friday and Saturday, which if you haven't watched them, you should, I'll try to remember to put up a card on the second one later in this video. But 2025 is going to just be absolutely bonkers. And so if the stock goes down a little on Thursday, Friday, after the earnings call, if it just stays flat from now until the first quarter, it isn't really going to matter, because the things that are going to happen in 2025 are already, they're in the book. I mean, forget about Robotaxi. He and I just talked about the Juniper and the 5.2, the 2.5, and energy and 4680. And I mean, there's so many things. We made the comment that we believe that without Robotaxi, we will more than double earnings in 2025. It might be a lot more than double. So maybe this doesn't really matter what happens this Wednesday. And maybe I haven't seen a lot of people like getting all excited about what the number is going to be. Well, there's a few, and we'll talk about that now. So the street comes out today, and they say, and I don't, usually pay that much attention to what the street says, but the company, meaning Tesla, is expected to report 58 cents. Well, there's another number. I've seen 57, 58, 60, 66, and these are just from the compilations of numbers, up from 53 cents a year ago. So that's interesting. So, if we beat 53, we beat last year. The revenue estimate is 25.6 billion, up 8.8%, mostly because of growth in the solar power business, the energy storage business. That's why I don't use the street, the solar power business. No. However, its vehicle business faces soft sales and more competition. It isn't about the competition, street. You're really just so It's just useless. The street, it's just I think they had Rob Bauer helping them for a while, but evidently he no longer is. From Yahoo, Wall Street analysts polled by Bloomberg expect the EV giant to deliver adjusted earnings per share of 60 cents, not 58, not 57, not 66, on revenue of 25.42 billion. Global deliveries, which improved sequentially for the first time this year, along with a potential tick up in automotive gross margins, should help boost profits in the quarter. So they're looking for an increase in gross margins. I'm not necessarily looking for an increase. I would be okay with flat. I'm looking this is the bottom quarter. This is where we go up 100% every quarter from now on. However, investors remain on edge when it comes to the company's future investments. After last week's Robotaxi unveiling, fell short of expectations. Well, yeah, we can say that. I think we can all agree. In fact, Gary Black mentioned today, that he was somebody, maybe the only person who say that he thought 1010 would fall short of expectations. And Gary, I like you, and I think you do a great job, but almost everybody said that the expectations were way too high. So you might have said that they would fall short, and you were right, but we just said it differently. We just said, how many expectations are out there? There's expectations about like everything that Tesla does, and not all of those things are going to be covered. So there's probably a good chance that people's expectations won't be met. I even talked about that book I like so much, Expectations Ruin Relationships. And there's no way that Elon and or Tesla, anytime they speak, the difference between all the people out there and what they're expecting, you can't meet everybody's expectations. You can't even meet the street's expectations compared to Yahoo's expectations, compared to Gary Black's expectations. It says, going on in the same article from Yahoo, in a note to clients following the event, Jefferies analyst called the $30,000 driverless robotaxi dubbed the Cybercab a toothless taxi, adding that Tesla has ambitious targets with little evidence of feasibility. I'm sorry. This is sad. The new Cybercab, designed to be fully autonomous, has no steering wheel or pedals. Production is stated to begin before 2027, according to CEO Elon Musk, and will likely be a big talking point on the earnings call. Maybe, maybe not. Our expectations may not be met. Investors may seek details on the rollout of Tesla's sub-$30,000 vehicle, Bloomberg intelligence analyst Steve Mann wrote. For high-volume sales, the automaker might need to include traditional features like a steering wheel and pedals in its Cybercabs. Man, you gotta be behind the times to think that. Now, everybody says that if they stuck steering wheels and pedals on that Cybercab, the version that we saw, just exactly the way make it a little more things like glove box or console or whatever, probably you need those. I don't know how many things, we don't have to carry anything around anymore. Everything's on here. So what do you put in a glove box? I haven't opened a glove box, I don't think, except maybe to get my registration in and out, like when you get the new one and you put anyway. In the third quarter, Tesla sold this is from Barron's. In the third quarter, Tesla sold 16,692 Cybertrucks in the US. Yes, only in the US, giving it almost 50% share of EV trucks. Its competition includes the Chevy Silverado, GMC's Hummer, and Denali, both of those from GMC, and then Rivian's automated R1T, and of course, Ford's F-150 Lightning. What's more, the average transaction price for a Cybertruck in September was an astonishing $116,706, according to the Kelley Blue Book, despite more than 5,000 Cybertrucks were sold in September, even at that high price. Selling that much volume of car that expensive is not typical, says the article. Only about 3 to 4% of the entire U.S. market for new cars costs above $100,000, according to the Freedom Capital Markets analyst Mike Ward. That gives the Tesla Cybertruck a roughly 10% market share of the high-priced new car segment. Through September, Tesla's 2024 market share of all new U.S. cars was about 4%. But of the over 100,000 of the high-priced new car segment, 10% goes to Cybertruck. No, that's not successful. No, horrible. What a failure. This is Randy Kirk. and liking, subscribing, and hitting notify tomorrow, regular schedule, Brian White in the morning, well, late morning in California. And then Larry Goldberg bringing in the good news on Monday night. Always a great show. Global markets. Did I say anything about Patreon? Yeah, one more thing. Yeah, Patreon. Come on, guys. Global markets, you know how to do it? You go down into the information, that's, right below, and there's a link, and you push the link. By the way, thank you very much. I got another order for 4 more Cybertruck bottle openers the other day, and the information on how to do that is down there as well. Thank you very much for the folks who sent that order in. It'll go out tomorrow. Global markets investor, global market is the handle on X is Global Market Observe, just with a V, no E. U.S. consumer auto loan delinquencies are skyrocketing. Now, we've heard that the subprime ones were way up, but now the share of 60-day loan delinquency rates for prime auto loans of U.S. consumers jumped to the highest jumped to the highest in 14 years. At the same time, subprime delinquencies are near the highest in 18 years. So I asked Grok, I didn't write this down, I'm just going to do it from memory. I asked Grok, well, why are these delinquencies so high, the highest in all this time? And he basically said, he gave like 10 different things. Grok, right? Anyway, Grok said that the delinquency, gave a whole bunch of reasons, like people are buying higher priced cars. They're not used to buying cars in that price category because that's really what's available right now. He talked about the problem we had with the very high priced cars during the pandemic that people probably bought over their head, thinking they would be able to continue to afford it. He talked about the fact that the job market is slowing down. Maybe some people had 2 jobs now, they lost one of them. Maybe they had 3 jobs and they lost one. In any one of those cases, you've got less income. Maybe they were getting overtime. Now they're not. So he went through all of these. But at the end of the day, the one that I thought was the most important was we continue to run at very high inflation. And we've had very high inflation now for several years. And people are not, they're you go to the grocery store and you say, okay, my budget's $100 a week or $200 a week, whatever it is. And you can't do it. You just can't hit what you're expecting to do. And so your overall budget keeps, getting banged around. And then all of a sudden, here comes the car payment is due and you don't have it and you're late and you got to pay the late fee. And that just makes you into a spiral of, next month, it makes it even harder to take care of business. Okay, so what about next week? This is what we do every Sunday night. If this is the first time you've been here, we go through what is coming up next week that you should be paying attention to that might impact Tesla stock or the overall stock market, because you might be playing some other stocks beside Tesla. You might be just paying the S&P. You might just be interested in what's going on in the economy. You're thinking about getting in the market. But anyway, this is what we do. So let's go ahead and take a look. So on Monday, we have Dallas President Lori Logan speaking on Monday morning. Then we get the U.S. leading economic indicators. I say this over and over and over again, but there's always new people. The U.S. leading economic indicators used to be a very important metric that everybody paid attention to. For some reason, they aren't now. So I'm going to take a different approach tomorrow. I'm going to look at that. I'm going to tear it up. I'm going to look at the segments of it, as opposed to the overall number, which nobody pays any attention to anymore. And it's been down like 15 out of the last 18. I don't know, a lot. And yet business seems to be okay, even though Randy thinks we've been in a recession for a while, and maybe that'll be proven right next year. But whatever the case may be, nobody's paying attention to these numbers. But there's a lot of internal numbers. I'm going to look at those tomorrow. I only have like 5 minutes to read them and think about them because they come out at 7 o'clock my time and I start the show at 7:10. But I will do my best to pull out any relevant kinds of information from what we do have there. All right, Kansas City Fed President Jeff Schmidt speaks on Monday afternoon, and San Francisco Fed President Mary Daly speaks also on Monday afternoon. I only mentioned all those things because there can be the beginnings of hints about what's going to happen on May 7th. When the Fed next speaks. Tuesday, Philadelphia Fed President Patrick Harker speaks. That's all we've got on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we have Fed Governor Michelle Bowman speaking. Existing home sales will be out. That'll be interesting. And then late on Wednesday, we've got the Fed Beige Book. Now that's before the market closes, but well after my show. So the Fed Beige Book will be something I'll report on Thursday morning. Then on Thursday, in addition to the Beige Book, and by the way, there's nothing to estimate on the Beige Book, but on existing home sales, those are expected to be almost the same as last month, 3.83 million on an annualized basis, 3.86 last month, so almost the same. That's existing home sales. I mean, it can't change very much month to month because there's no inventory and there's no, and it's existing. And if you have no inventory, you can only sell so many. All right, Thursday, initial jobless claims, as always, they're expecting that to go up fairly dramatically from 241 last time to 250 this time. That could be because of hurricanes, Boeing strike. The Boeing strike is starting to impact further down the line. Boeing has also laid off additional people, and there's been a couple of other situations that I've seen also where there's been some layoffs that might be impacting this week. So they're saying it might be higher at 250,000. Cleveland Fed President Beth Hammack speaks on on Thursday morning. Then we have the S&P Flash U.S. Services number, and there's no expectations given on this one, 55.2 last month. We also have the manufacturing PMI. Now that PMI for new people, that is purchasing managers index. So this is a survey they take where they ask the purchasing managers of companies, what are they expecting in the next, 30, 60, 90, 120 days. I think a year also, but they ask them a bunch of questions and they come up with this index. And the services index has been very strong all year long. 55.2 is a strong number, over 50. The manufacturing has been very weak. Their last month, 47.3. So it'll be interesting to see where those two go this week. And then we also have new home sales as opposed to existing home sales. On Thursday, we get new home sales. And last month, those were at 716. This 716,000. This time, they're expecting that to be 720,000. And a good number, by the way, for new home sales would be like over 1 million. So you can see we're way under the numbers that we need in order to, keep the market, to keep the prices of homes from going up even more, which I think they will next year. I've been predicting that for a long time. All right, then on Friday, we have durable goods orders. Last month, that was flat. This time, they're thinking durable goods will actually be down. Durable goods include everything from Boeing 747s do they make 747s anymore? 797s, 87s. Anyway, I don't pay that much attention to it. Anyway, the durable goods orders include, toasters, I think, at least refrigerators, but pretty sure maybe toasters. Anything that can last anything that's intended to, I think, last longer than a year. Durable goods minus transportation, which takes Boeing and a lot of other things out of the mix. That's expected to be, actually, they're not giving us a number. Last month, it was up 0.5%. It seemed to be a little bit of a surprise. I'm very surprised if durable goods are up. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Consumer sentiment comes out just before I come on Friday. So we'll catch that one and report that one. Consumer sentiment, very, very important. Just a few days before the election. At that point, we'll be 11 days out or something like that. So, it'll be very important to see where the consumers are, how they're feeling at this point. All the reporting recently has been the consumers are miserable and are not expecting much in the future. So 69 is the number compared to 68.9. Now, this is consumer sentiment is done they do a preliminary, and then I think they only do, and then they do a final, I think is only the two. I could be wrong about that. But anyway, this one is the final. So it is compared to the preliminary was 68.9. They're thinking it will tick up a whole tenth of a percent. All right. So that's it for that. Now, what about the earnings reports? We got 3 on Tuesday, nothing on Monday, nothing of consequence on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we have 3M, General Motors, Lockheed Martin, and Verizon Communications. We're going to get to see a broad look at different parts of the economy, with 3M mostly in consumer products, General Motors, of course, automotive, Lockheed Martin, defense, Verizon Communications in communications and tech. So we're going to get a wide look. Wednesday, we've got IBM, tech again, AT&T, kind of techish in communications again, Coca-Cola, back to consumers, Tesla on Wednesday, and then T-Mobile, another communications and tech company. Then we have on Thursday, United Parcel Service, one of the ones I pay a lot of attention to. I'll be paying attention to see if I can get you the trucking total tonnage numbers, because I believe that the total tonnage gives you a window into where things are going. It's a canary in the coal mine. So United Parcel on Thursday, also Western Digital for the tech section. And then finally on Friday, we have Colgate-Palmolive, more information on consumers, and then HCA Healthcare. I think this is the first of the healthcare group to tell us how things are going there. Now, healthcare has been doing very, very well. So we'll see what happens there. So looking ahead, I have been misreporting that the employment numbers would come out on the 8th. In fact, they will come out on the 1st. So the Fed will have both the latest employment numbers and the PCE results as part of their consideration on the 7th. And all of that will be the following week. The voting public will also have both of those prior to their voting on the 5th. I think a huge percentage of people will have voted by election day, but for those who are waiting and still thinking about it, both of those numbers might have some impact on how the election turns out. I don't think not nearly as much as Donald Trump going and working for 15 minutes at McDonald's today. What a stunt that was. Now, look, some of you may be asking the question about Elon Musk and his giving away the $1 million in order to get people to sign his petition. So I'm not an election lawyer, and I'm not really a lawyer. I went to law school for 3 years, and I know something about the law. I know enough to get me in trouble, that's for sure. But I did manage to go through 40-something companies, one of them at $5 million a year for many, 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 many years. And only been in a courtroom that wasn't me being paid to be an expert witness. I've only been in a courtroom once. Yeah, I've been in 3 lawsuits that didn't have to do with expert witness testimony, but only one time that I ended up in a courtroom. That's pretty good, right? I mean, law school did something for me. It kept me from paying lots of lawyers. So, but having said all that, what do I think about what he's doing? Is it legal? All right. You're not allowed to pay for somebody to register, and you're not allowed to pay somebody to get them to vote. Those are 2 things you can't do. And you certainly can't pay somebody to vote your way. Those are things you cannot do. It's really, really clear. All right. So here's where the line would be drawn. We don't know. I've really looked at every article I could on this, and I can't see anybody that seems to know for sure what's going on. He is asking people to sign the petition, and in order to sign the petition, I think he's saying they have to be registered. Okay. So up till now, it's all good. You can pay them all you want. You can pay them. You can put them on a list of people that are going to be drawn. Now, there could be state regulations. And I've done a lot of these contests like this over the years with service clubs and whatnot. So I know in California, it's heavily regulated how you can do this kind of a competition, like not a competition, just a drawing, called a drawing. So there could be state regulations, and Wisconsin could be different than Michigan, et cetera. But forgetting the state, just looking at the federal elections law, if he is merely asking you to sign the petition and you have to be registered in order to do that, I think he's fine. Now, if the person who is doing is standing at your front door, asking you to sign the petition, telling you that you could win $1 million if you sign the petition, and then the person says, well, I'm not registered. And they go, well, here's a registration form. You can sign up right now. I think that could be a problem. Maybe not, but at least it would be questionable if the person says, here's your registration form, sign the registration form, and now I will sign you up for your $1 million chance. Or if the person says, hey, just go right on your phone, go to here's the URL you go to, go ahead and register. And as soon as you're registered, then you can come back and you can, and I'll sign you up. Or I'll come back tomorrow. You know, anything where there is an inducement to get them to register, even though it's only a chance in a drawing, that would still be remuneration, if you will. That would be giving them something for their decision to register. So you see the difference there? I hope that makes sense to you. Let me know in the comments below if you think I'm right, if you think I'm wrong, or if you say I still don't understand. Randy, could you say it again? All right, let's take a look at where the markets are now. Okay, let's isn't it 4:30 yet? Yeah, okay, here we go. So we got the bonds. The 10-year is 0.2 up, back to 4.095. This is not good. I mean, I'm just saying, this is not good. And you know why I think so. I don't have to explain it to you. The bonds should not be going up. I don't like it. Okay. The 2-year is only up 0.2 of a basis point at 3.957. The 3-month is up 1.5 and the 2-month is up 1.6. So, what they're doing is irrelevant, at least today, but has been relevant on other days. So anyway, the 10-year going up 2 basis points is not what I would like to see. In general, in terms of in terms of the Fed making a decision to continue to cut rates, I think this is a problem. Okay, we've got the oil up barely, but still under 70, up 15 cents in the pre-market at 69.37, Brent at 73.20, natural gas basically unchanged, up 0.04% at 2.259, but that's still quite low. That's back to that number again, $2.25. You might remember me saying that that's what the Texas guys who sell their what do they call that? Gas off. I think, is that what they call it? Anyway, when you're able to grab the gas as you're doing your oil production and then sell that off, they are preferring to sell it for about 2.25. That helps them to make the entire thing work. Okay, gold is up another $8.90. That's $2,739. Wow. And that's up 0.33%. I think that it would be an all-time high during regular hours. Silver is now past 34, up 2.47. That is definitely a recent high. And copper up 0.49 at $4.40. That is in the middle of its recent range. The dollar up a tad against the euro, call it unchanged, and up 0.04%, which is almost unchanged against the yen. Then you've got Bitcoin. So I saw a headline today. I did not do a lot of reading. It's up 804. Apparently, one of the Bitcoin ETFs, exchange traded funds that trades in Bitcoin, was listed or is going to be listed on the New York Stock Exchange. So now people are saying, well, it's off to 100,000 now. I still have my $10 worth. So maybe my $10 will go to $13. The equities, the Dow is up 53 or 0.12, S&P up 8.25 or 0.14%, and the NASDAQ up 38 or 0.19%. That's where we were looking. So, if you use the pre-market as any idea of what's going to happen tomorrow morning, you would say, it's kind of positive, kind of trending the right way. But with the bonds going up two basis points for the 10-year, that's going to be a drag. Okay. So tomorrow morning, as I mentioned, we've got Brian White, and then we've got Larry Goldberg, and then the cards I'll put up. So I'm going to put up a card for this morning's show, which I think you'll really enjoy, where we take a look at what is Elon Musk, what does he really want from the Atlantic, and they did a horrific job of speculating about what Elon really wants, and I tear it apart inch by inch. Maybe you'll enjoy it. Maybe you won't. I had a lot of fun doing it. And then yesterday would be the second part of the Brian Wong video that we did talking about the numbers for 2025. And when you finish watching that one, at the end, there will be a card for part 1. So that would get you. Those are the 3 right now. Those would be 3 things I think you would get Now, that doesn't mean that my videos midday and last night were great too. So, if you're behind and you have nothing going on, you know what I do now? I have the football game on with the the announcers turned off. I've been watching football since I was like 12, about 120 years ago. I know what I can do the play-by-play myself. Trust me, right? Couldn't I? Anyway, so I just turned the sound off, and I've got my computer, or I've got a one of my, Jordan Peterson, or one of the other people, the All In podcast or whatnot, going in my ear, or maybe I'm just doing some analysis planning for the show here. Anyway, I think I should get out of here, or you guys are gonna throw me out. It's been fun and great and amazing talking to you.